Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hot Takes League of Legends edition. First one of the year. It's been a few weeks, hasn't it? 2, 3 weeks almost. How much have you guys missed us? How much have you missed
I
being
haven't
together?
much, to be honest. I don't want to see Ethan yap about League. He yaps too much about it.
Yeah, and so I have to see Davide yap about League, and I have to see Lee, which is a Tottenham supporter again. And yeah, that's two things I hate. So yeah, kind of the same. I didn't miss you that much, guys.
I was going to say that I really missed you guys, and this is a highlight of my week. But, clearly
Heartbreaking.
not a mutual feeling, is it? And let's not
No,
mention.
of course I
Not
miss you.
joking.
Of course I miss you. Of course I missed you.
All right.
Happy New Year, guys, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And to
With
you.
a little
Yeah.
bit of delay, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And no talk of Tottenham this week, please. I've had
Yeah.
enough of it for the time being. Not been the best Christmas period. It's annoying that actually no other football carries on. Like all the other countries have a break, so I'm forced to only see Tottenham related stuff, and it's not been ideal. Anyway,
I'm watching Africa Cup, and it's kind of fun actually.
oh yeah, true. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
not actually seen any, to be fair.
Actually, Italy is playing, but Juventus fan is not a good time right now, so I'll probably just skip it past that.
It's all right. Arsenal will slip up eventually anyway. The gap closed, didn't it, and then reopened a little bit, but I'm not worried. Fine. Anyway, what we'll actually do that's relevant this week, what we'll actually talk about then, is our power rankings for every main league except for LEC. Well, that's maybe harsh to the LCP. We're not going to go through the LCP because no one knows beyond like 2 teams anyway. But we'll go through.
We probably know just that CFO is going to be number 1. And
that would be
the
my
only thing.
guess without looking at absolutely anything, and it probably would be right, I imagine. Yeah, we'll go through the LCS, LCK, LPL.
Hey, they lost a lot. The LCP, they lost a lot, right? Well, I mean CFO, because they lost Driver, they lost Junja, and they lost OnQ. So yeah, I think cars might be reshuffled in the CP, but yeah, I think we don't know enough to talk about it deeply. Yeah.
In any case, yeah, we'll go through the other 3 leagues. We'll wait for the LEC extravaganza next week. We'll do an even deeper dive. What we'll do, we'll go through the other 3 leagues, do some team rankings, see what we're feeling, and then see what else we get up to after. Any preference on which one to start with for anybody?
Oof. I think let's go LCK, and then based on strength of regions, just to tilt some people.
I don't think anyone would
So I
disagree.
guess LCK first, I guess.
All right, let's
Okay,
go
so the
LCK then.
better.
Bottom to top. Number 10, Bro, across the board.
Bro.
Probably not the biggest.
Poor
Bro,
bros.
man. Oh, bro.
Poor bros.
I'm actually surprised that all of you guys put Bro in 10th. Kind of, to be honest.
Well, honestly, for me, it was a no-brainer. Honestly, like I think,
so?
yeah, I think JRX got kind of an upgrade. I think supers now, they're called DN supers.
Yes.
Yeah, supers are actually very interesting team, honestly. And yeah,
Definitely.
then you have Brian, which is like, sorry, but yeah.
I mean, honestly, like for me, it's kind of interesting because it's not even that bad, which is why I was surprised, because to me it's like you got Teddy, you got Fisher and Gideon. These guys have already played in the LCK for quite some time, and then you got
Maybe too much time.
yeah, okay, fair, but just then you got rookies with Casting and Namgung. I mean, yeah.
I heard good things about Casting, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about good stuff about him as well. I think he was pretty good on KT. Like KT was one of the best challengers team, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Namgung played comes from Genji Academy, which is usually known for pushing out good stuff. So it's like, I think this is probably one of the most competitive LCK seasons we've had in the past few years, which is why it's kind of crazy to me, because just judging by the roster, I wouldn't even put them I only had to like look back and at all the rosters before putting them in 10th.
Mm.
It's like otherwise, I don't think this should be a bottom team. You know.
It's probably just like you feel slightly less inspired by them compared to other teams. Maybe not like they look completely terrible.
I mean, I guess it's mainly just a little bit of uncertainty because obviously, yes, we said that Fisher, Teddy, and Gideon have been playing, but Fisher has been a little bit wonky, I would say. Teddy has probably been decent last year on DRX, but
Yeah.
even then, he wasn't that outstanding. It's
I
not
think-
like
I think-
Junior Teddy days, you know?
Yeah, but I think Teddy has always been decent, you know. Like I've never seen
I would
Teddy
say, yeah.
have
That's
a
fine.
very bad season overall, you know.
Let's
Oh,
do
oof.
Or at least I don't remember it, right?
Yeah,
let's do the next two because I feel like we've kind of mentioned it already anyway.
yeah.
And we do have a habit of starting too slow in some of these rankings sometimes. So let's reveal the next ones. All in agreement so far still. So, and actually I don't know how DRX has got 8.67 then if
Yeah.
we've all got them all, unless I've moved something wrong. But yeah, DRX
maybe
9th,
I missed it.
DNS.
Oh, so we were all aligned
Eight.
on those three? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, let me check. Sometimes the
Sometimes I
thing
could
messes up.
copy and paste stuff badly from the sheet where we actually did it.
Yeah, you pasted bad, but it's
Oh,
fine.
my bad.
You put 8, you put double 8 between DRX and supers. I mean, fair. Like, I guess we agree on the fact that DRX and like these are the bottom 3. I actually don't think the supers is going to be that bad, honestly. Like,
Yeah, same.
I definitely think that supers has a higher chance of making it to playoffs than the other two. Which is kind of interesting because I mainly thought about this only because of the bot lane they got, because they got Doctum with Peter and Life. Both of them like Doctum has the how can I call it, like the funny thing that he already has played with these two players before, because like he played with Doctum played with Peter in 2025, and in Life I think they played together when they were in China, if I remember correctly. And they still got like pretty decent topside, like Dudu, Pusik, and Closer.
Not a fan of music, honestly.
Okay,
Like,
fair.
that's the
Yes,
yeah.
like that's for me. That was kind of the thing that made me question a little bit more about
Mm.
the team. Like, I think there's some times where Pusik can go berserk in that sense.
Yeah.
And kind of mess up the plays, but I don't think this team is not like if a freak like DNF or whatever it was called in the past struggled. I don't think this year we're expecting similar level of performance. You know, I think
Yeah.
that definitely it was a clear upgrade over last year.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they basically got two Worlds finalists, right? Like, it's actually like 3 if you count Piosik, but already like Deodam and Peter were Worlds finalists last year. So I think it's an achievement when you're a bottom team like that to get two World finalists. Obviously, Deodam and Peter were not the main characters at KT, right? But yeah, I still think it's a very strong off season for them overall. Like, from what they could achieve with an off season, given their spot and given I guess also their their market value, you know, overall as a team. I guess, yeah, they couldn't do much better, and yeah, that's fine. I just think change in jungle might have been needed after last year, where Piosik was really, like, you know, the weak link in this team. So yeah, and maybe outside of that, yeah, I think Jerex as well had decent off season. You know, like Vincenzo has been like very hyped from T1 Academy. Yeah, I think Jiwoo had some ups and downs, but you know, he's a fine player. And yeah, I guess those 3, I agree with you, Davide, that we might have the most competitive LCK in the recent years, given how good the lower team are, you know.
It's going to be a really scrap. I think it's going to be super scrappy, like
Yeah.
genuinely. But I think it's also like the easiest one to rate in terms of like. I was looking at our rankings and it felt like, oh, this is probably where we all kind of agree where the teams fall into this, like in what ballpark they fit in.
Yeah.
Because I was going through the other ones that we'll go through later. It's very, very different. But yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
six out of 10 teams we've all got the same rating.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Pretty close. Let's do the next two, which are 7th place. I forget the full name of BNK these days. Fear basically, isn't it?
Rex, yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
Nongshim
Nongshim.
in 6th. This is where
I
I
want
feel
to
like the
hear.
top 6 is where it gets a bit
Yeah.
trickier.
You want to hear me about that?
Yeah, I want to
Felix?
hear. I want to hear your debate because I have my own debate about this.
Okay, so first thing first is Taeyeon. I'm not hyped at all, honestly. I don't think he is at all close from the Diable caliber, for example. Then I think like Sponge, for example, is to me kind of a weird choice. I know that I heard some rumors about Genji even trying like talking with him and stuff like during the off season, but like Sponge to me like yeah, he had decent games, I guess, with Jerex, but I don't remember him at all to be like, you know, a jungler that can compete with the top jungler, like at all, you know. While I do think that Raptor last year was had very interesting games, and I also let's not forget about the fact that Fearex won the Asian Invitational, you know, like this guy is come to play to me, like, and also I want to say something. I think Diable and Kaylin might have been one of the best bot lane in the league. Like among Gumayushi Keria, among Duro Buller, all this type of stuff. I think these two belong up there, you know. Which I think, looking at Nongshim, I don't see any player that belongs up there, you know. Maybe Lens, but I don't think he even deserves it anymore, you know. He maybe back in the time, but right now, no. So honestly, I just think that Fearex as one of the best bot lanes in the league. They have a very, let's say, a very like I'm very looking forward for this top side because I think they were completely doing their job, you know, last year. And when I look at Nongshim, I see Taeyun, which I'm not hyped at all. I see Sponge, which I'm not hyped at all. And I see someone else. I see Scout. And this guy last year I can tell you by watching like JGG, this guy was not looking like the Scout, you know, like he was not looking like the Scout back in the days from EGG and stuff. Like he was really, really griefing. So yeah, when I look at those two teams, I just think Fearex, honestly, is a better team overall. That's it.
Okay, fair. Let's put it this way. Like I had a very big like debate on my own when I was ranking these two teams because I think they're both of them top 6 worthy. So I'll put it out there first. There are two main reasons as to why I decided to put Nongshim over BNK. The first one is the fact that I don't believe that Scout is going to perform like he did last year. If it does, I don't even think I don't even think like if it doesn't perform like if it does play like last year, I don't even think like Nongshim can make it to the top 8, to be honest. That's how poor he did.
Fair.
I think Taeyun, like obviously if you're comparing Taeyun to Diable, I think it's obviously like the latter is better. I just think that like Taeyun did a pretty good job in the LPL, and even though he had a poor showing at Caspa Cup, I think, I still think he's a pretty decent ADC. Like I don't know if there's something wrong with him playing against LCK like Korean players, but it's like he's just sometimes just does some very questionable stuff. But my biggest thing for putting BNK lower was the loss of the coaching staff actually.
Yeah.
Like team, like obviously we'll go about it later, but just like losing Ryu and even like Joker, who were basically the two coaches for BNK in the past 2 years, meant that to me BNK's ceiling is kind of hit. Like I don't even think Vikla, I didn't really like Vikla last year that much. I don't think Daystar, the new rookie mid laner, will like elevate the roster that much. And while I agree, obviously, like the bot lane is the like definitely the shining point. I don't think it will be enough, especially if we look at how Nongshim still has Kingen and Lahens in top and support. I think that on paper, Nongshim's potential is a little bit higher over a longer period of time. Like I wouldn't be surprised if BNK performs better in like the short term, but I did the rankings with the thought of let's wait until LCK Cup finishes. Like this is kind of how I would see the teams play out the entire split. So maybe that's why I swapped the two. But I definitely think both of them are playoff teams, just like supers. If I over a long like expanded period of time, I would end up seeing Nongshim potentially getting a little bit higher in the standings, which is why then I decided to go put them in 6.
Okay. Honestly, I think I still think I stand by my point. I think Fearex has a higher ceiling than Nongshim right now.
I think it's a fair, like it's fair. I think they're very close. I just like
We aligned on that. I think they're on the same tier, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think Fearex has much more to prove. Even though I agree with you that the loss of the coaching staff might be a big hit for the team, I still think they have a lot to prove. Like they can do. They were so close, to breaking through that top 5 last year. I think like this year, by winning the Asian Invitational and stuff, keeping the same 5 and everything, I think they have a real good chance to actually make it.
I agree. Fair.
Let's do.
It was very tough. It was super tough. I must say. I spent like a 5-10 minutes thinking about this while I was sorting out like supers, Nongshim and BNK.
Let's do 4-5 that are. I think we're all agreed on 5, so the slightly easier ones. So it's in 5th, KT Rolster, and then 4th, D+. Although thinking about it more, like I feel like D+ is maybe a bit of a riskier one, just of like how it's going to work with CV Max being the coach, and if things blow up like they do sometimes with CV Max being the coach. I mean, in terms of the roster, it's like probably Smash for aiming is like a tier upgrade, isn't it?
If the DK we saw at Casper Cup is the DK we're getting for 2026, I'm going to be quite positive.
Yep.
The main reason why I put like even here for me, it's KD is a much more known quantity in the sense that if you look at how the team played in 2025, I don't think the dynamic will change much going to 2026. Like in the sense that I still think like actually aiming can be considered an upgrade or definitely at least a side grade over Doctum. I think the main loss could be coming from the support role. I don't think I think Peter in 2025 was so instrumental to how KT played. I'm not really sure whether Ghost or Polo can do that.
Yeah, for sure.
On the other hand, I'm like without knowing who's going to be the starting position, like the starting player, I actually think that Ghost going support can be actually helpful for the team overall because like ADC players who play support usually tend to understand the matchups a lot better, which is something that aiming hasn't done much. Like if you think about it, like I used to remember Amy being quite an aggressive player, if I'm not mistaken. And he last year on DK, he was usually just the one that's like, oh, sit back and carry late game, you know, or just chill out and make sure you don't send it. He was like the DK would play well the whole game, and then Amy would send it once. I remember like that T1 series, we just got caught, and that meant that they were knocked out from World's qualification. Like he has those like one of those like those moments. So hopefully like Ghost can kind of keep him in check. But like
Actually,
I still
I-
think like BDD and Cuz is like just a good enough package that you want, like you would say, oh, this team is at least top 5 in the LCK, you know. Especially
Yeah.
like I think BDD, I'm not sure if BDD will have the same year, like in the same 2025 season he had this year. I just think that Cuz kind of found his own dimension and elevated himself a little bit from the very volatile player he used to be.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
he was so much more consistent this year, like at the end of like 2025, and I think if he really has improved, he would keep that going into the new season.
Yeah, I think he kind of removed a lot of the burden that BDG had to carry on his own by actually taking on some games on his own, actually. But yeah, I think when it comes to aiming and poly or ghost, whatever, I think aiming, you're right, Davide. Like last year, he had kind of a stinker year, while I think usually he's kind of like a higher of the standing, you know, a high standing player in the LCK. Like I felt like aiming in general was, you know, among the best AGCs in Korea in like the previous years. But yeah, last year was kind of hard for him, honestly. I don't know if it was the synergy with Beryl that was not coming through or whatever, but for sure there had to be a change in the bot lane because it wasn't working at all. And then yeah, I mean, I'm always a bit pessimistic about wall swapping to supports. I mean, ever since I saw kind of like Niski, for example, with Vitality, did this kind of stuff, guys, I have to be very, you know, yeah, let's say careful with this kind of lane swap. And also, I know Ghost was kind of the weak side AGC, you know, that will play more supportive champions and stuff. But honestly, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from that. I feel like Polu is decent enough, you know, anyway, so they will have kind of an option to rely on. But yeah, let's see how it develops. I guess they will start with Polu and maybe Ghost will take over if he improves enough, you know. But yeah, it will be an interesting dynamic. Then when it comes to D plus, yeah, I think honestly this bot lane is as probably a much higher ceiling than the previous one in terms of, you know, what they have to give to the game right now, because I think also the fact that Beryl, you know, has been here for such a long time, maybe was kind of tired, you know, by the game and stuff. Kind of the same maybe with aiming. But you know, Smash and Carrier are very like they are both coming from LCKCL. Actually, they are both very young. I guess they are very hungry, and they are well surrounded. You know, like all these players, you know, they want to win titles. You know, you know they want to go far and just not compete only to be in the top 5. You know, they want to go further. So yeah, I guess this is a team that can upset the league for sure. Like if there has to be a team that can upset, it's them, you know, because then we enter the top 3, and the top 3 is, you know, they're unremovable. You know, they will always be there, I guess.
Well, yeah, between second and third, I think we've got some differences. But to be fair, I feel like these top 3 could very easily end up in any order, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
By the
we've
way,
got...
wait. Before we get into that, for me, one thing about DK I wanted just to reiterate is that for me, a lot will depend on Showmaker. Like, I'm not sure if we cover about this, but I just
I
think
agree.
that like I think DKKT, Nongshim, PNK, DNS can potentially swap themselves depending on how their players play. I think that DRX and Bro are a little bit lower, but like the reason why we were saying that it's one of the most competitive ones, I think it's like the playoffs will be very, very bloody. Like I could wake up one day and see DK completely shit the bed, and be outside of playoffs. But I just think that like Smash has been very convincing to me. I think the way Smash plays is also kind of what CV Max wanted from me last year, in the sense that you want someone who just like takes his own time, let Lucid, Siwu, Showmaker, and like kind of play their thing, and then just have Smash like slowly farm up. And I think with the new season also as well, that should give more agency to top laners and ADCs in terms of carry potential with the new season changes, which will definitely like are expected to come in 2 days. I think we might see teams with strong top AD, at least for me, getting a lot more value from their players. So that's why I decided to put DK fourth. Even though I think DK and KT are also close for me, you know.
Yeah, and also I think both of these teams have kind of a high risk, high reward potential. You know, they can go down very easily and they can go up very easily as well. And honestly, I think like for example, while you talk about like a lot will come down to Showmaker, I think he might be in a very important timing of his career where it's either he reinvent himself or maybe he just drop down and just like GK will ultimately have to change something with the mid lane, you know, because honestly, like when you look at it, Showmaker has always been this player that wants to play, you know, the LeBlanc, the Syndra, like things to storm the lane and kind of carry games on his own, you know. I do think that with this roster, he no longer has to. Maybe has to delegate a bit of those responsibilities and just play some more stable champions that can, you know, control the game, but much slower than the champions he used to play. And yeah, just take on another role. Maybe like, you know, Faker did at some point in his career with T1. You know, he had to reinvent himself to kind of take on that new role, which is not the mechanical high carry potential player, but more that strong, reliant piece of the puzzle that will always do the work, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Right, let's see what order we've got the top three, and I think third place is where firstly we'll see some difference. So on average, we've got T1 in third. However, Davide has got them clearly higher. And we'll just reveal the three because they're all pretty much linked. So that leaves Hamwa Life in second. And then, of course, the fact that we can't see Genji at all means that everyone is in agreement that Genji is number one. But yeah, even though like clearly it's agreed on number one Genji, like I feel like that could easily be T1 or HLE sneaking a title somewhere.
I actually don't think it's the case.
No?
Like weirdly enough, for me, it's not the case. I would assume that J&J will not like obliterate, but like dominate domestically. Like obviously, there's no question, there's no denying that these are going to be your top three for the start of the season. But my idea was that I think HLE and T1 are much more likely to swap themselves out compared to Genji. There are two reasons behind it. The first one is, yes, we can say that like one of the reasons why I put T1 higher than HLE is because I think the form that they had was a little bit better at the Caspa Cup. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of new season changes and stuff like that. But I think that HLE still has some things that they need to sort out. I think that their potential is actually on par with T1. I just think that there's like they need to be a little bit more polished with their gameplay.
I think it's higher. But yeah,
yeah, no, I like
about it later.
I do. Yes, I actually think it's also higher over a longer period of time. When I said like by the time we get to the end of the LCK Cup, I think that it's going to be similar.
Yeah,
My main my main thought process is that it all depends on Kanavi, and I still think that this is going to be my main issue for the entire HLE roster for 2026. Homie is a good coach. I don't know if you guys have seen the LPL documentary, but he kind of fucked up
the draft with TS.
yeah,
I remember.
yeah, at Worlds. Like
I saw
obviously
Cream.
they
I saw Cream being very upset with him.
yeah.
with
Like
the mid-lane choices.
there are so many ways you can see that. Like you can analyze that. I just think
Yeah.
that overall, like still, like Homie is a very good coach, and he's probably the best one on how he knows how to manage Kanavi, and that is going to be my main worrying concern about HLE, because like Kanavi is actually, I think, on paper can be the best jungler in the league. I don't think he is now necessarily the case, but I think he has the best potential at the high ceiling. But
Yep.
he has a very, very specific way that you want to play around him. You want him to play, and the entire team needs to play around him. This has been proved like many times over the past few years. Every time the team sucks or like the team underperforms is because Kanavi is not playing well, or he's not enabled to the way he wants to be enabled. And so I think in that sense, T1's floor is a little bit better. And definitely like having Owner, Carrier, and Faker once again as the main trio will definitely help out. I think actually pace for T1's playstyle necessarily can actually be a good thing. I don't think he's better than Guma, just to put it out there. I just think that he might fit T1's new dynamic with Doran better. Because in the past we used to have Zeus. You could have Zeus act as a as a carry more than Doran does, or like Doran doesn't do it with the same consistency that Zeus does it used to do it. So by having Pace, someone who does technically perform well with traditional ADCs and especially crit damage ADCs, I think that can potentially improve T1's team fighting even more this year. On the other hand, HLE technically will have to play through, I would assume, more towards the top side, especially with Zeus and Zeka. And my question will be, will Kanavi actually be able to do that consistently, and will actually Zeka be able to match up with the best mids in the league? Because I think it's like based on how he performed like recently, I don't even think he's like top 4, sorry. Like you have Chovy, you have Faker, you have BDD, and then you have him potentially fighting with Showmaker and Scout. And I know it's a little bit of a stretch right now, but like you could say that like Scout is not going, like if it's not the Scout from last year, I don't think the Scout is going to be that bad.
Actually, I'd say Closer and Calix might be,
okay,
fighting more. Yeah.
Okay, fair. You're a Scout hater, man.
I was really not like, when I actually started watching a lot of esports was in like really a lot was like in 2021.
Okay.
And I like honestly, it was like the best timing to see Scout, because EGG was absolutely dominant and Scout was the main character of this team, right? So I was a big Scout enjoyer back in the days, but honestly, his last year he was griefing. Like he had everything he needed to. Like he had Shun, which was performing very, very well. He had Pace, which was performing very well. All JGG was needed to actually take it to the next step and compete for the top 3 was Scout to play well, and he didn't a single time in the year, which kind of tilted me honestly. Like I hope he just had, he was not comfortable with the country anymore or whatever, and now that he's back in Korea, he will just be playing at his peak. I hope so, because he was just not looking like himself on this last season, and he had every ingredients to actually play at his best level because he had every good player around him, So yeah, now he doesn't have. Actually, I think JGG had a much better roster than Nongshim is having right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if he can perform better, great. But like he had more reason to perform better last year, and he didn't. So Yeah.
I wanted to make a joke. I wanted to say it's like Tottenham, where basically you win Europa League, but then you
And you're 15th all year.
yeah. I'm sorry. But
I won't
yeah.
complain. It was a long time waiting for that trophy, so I'll take another shit year for that.
But yeah, so I think it's going to be very close. I actually think that Genji, for me, like we previously mentioned about BNK losing Ryu. I think actually Ryu is the biggest upgrade like Genji got.
Yeah.
Like I actually genuinely hope that this will be the time actually Genji puts it all together, because it always feels like, oh, we're so good for like most of the year and then we shit the bed at the last minute, and then it's always for some stuff that hasn't been sorted out for any time during the season. Like I actually think that this is kind of like the bad thing about top teams, is like when you're so much used to winning, you think that everything goes well, that you tend to neglect some of the weaknesses or like imperfections that you guys have, because the team is performing so well. Like Genji, we always said like even when they won MSI, even when they won the EWC, they always seem like to struggle in specific scenarios, especially with some very poor drafting. And then I think it beat them in the ass when KT played against them at Worlds. And like even the players also maybe need to like fix out their no, I don't want to say mental because it sounds bad, but just like
No, but I think it is.
like
It is. I
there's
mean,
like the stress management under like those super high stakes moments. I feel like it's kind of weird because like Genji, like they seem so dominant during the season, because I think they're so used to doing that. Like even MSI is already not like not a new thing for them. Like they already won it twice. It's not like it won't magically change things. But I think just like when you want to win worlds so badly, the more you're attached to it, the worse it gets.
And
And I think
the more times you fuck it up, the bigger an
yes,
obstacle it
Yeah, yeah.
feels.
yeah. Like I don't know if you guys know the meme about Genji, but like 884488. Like
Yeah. It's
yeah.
about Chovy, no? More than
Yeah,
Genji.
it's about
Yeah.
Genji in general, just like how every time like he finishes like he enters top 8 but never finishes above
Yeah,
that.
he never went to final, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like when you look at a player from his caliber, I think we never saw a player that dominant in the recent years, because honestly, Chovy is no contest the best player in the recent years. You know, in the 2020 era, I guess there's no contest that he's the best player. You know, and yet he has never reached the world finals, which is like very weird. But yeah, to come back more generally on that top three, I completely agree. I think Genji might dominate, like should dominate most of the year. I think there's still kind of a question mark on Canyon, because I think he didn't left
True.
with the best performances. While I think the competition got higher because Peanut wasn't the best as well with HLE last year. Now they got Canavi, which has for sure a higher ceiling right now, as of right now, you know, than Peanut. Honor was looking very good all year long. He kind of carried T1 when they had problems. So yeah, I think the competition overall in jungle, with Cuz, you know, being more reliant, with Lucid maybe coming out of you know, his first 2 years within the league, I think now you clearly have like you clearly have a better jungle, like a better jungle pool in the LCK, and you need to align with that and just look better, you know, for him to stay within such a dominant team than Genji is. So for sure it will come down to this, and I think actually I'm very hyped about HLE, because I think I agree with the fact that Canavi, like the team will depend a lot on Canavi's performances for sure, because he has always been like this with every other team. But I do think that Guma UC might be exactly, you know, the type of AGC that he needs, where he's like Zeus is obviously a jungler, a top laner that loves to play strong side, you know, to have jungler by his side and stuff. And Guma is a player that plays very well on his own. So I think it can be the perfect fit, you know. And I don't know if you saw that clip where Canavi is saying that he always thought that if one day he could play with Zeus or Delight, he could win worlds. And the homie says, like answers him like, yeah, well now it's your time, right? And he said, yeah, we're just getting starting, you know, we're just getting started. And actually, you know, they did quite well at Kespa Cup. Like honestly, I was surprised because I thought it would take more time for them to actually, you know, reach such a high standards. I thought they would like start pretty much slow. But yeah, they look very ambitious from the start. I think that T1, the pace change, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword in the sense that I think pace might be more consistent over the course of the year than Gumayusi was. But at the same time, I think that when it will matter the most, we haven't seen pace perform like at Worlds, for example. We haven't seen him perform yet, like at the highest stage, you know. While Guma, you know, we knew that he was very reliant when it came to and very reliable when it came to those moments. So yeah, I'm kind of interested and curious to see if T1 can bring both pace and Doran to World Final. Like given how Guma was like primordial, you know, he was instrumental to that T1 win at Worlds. I'm wondering if pace can keep up with that level of performance when it comes to, you know, your peak level. But for sure, you know, I think over the course of the year, I think pace might be even an upgrade to Gumayusi.
Yeah.
The way I
Maybe.
saw it is that like Gen G should definitely still be favourites, especially like in LCK Cup as well, when other teams will still be like figuring stuff out. So you'd imagine they're favourites still, but then if you could see a world where for either Hammer Life or T1 or both, that changes they've done like could see them improve on last year, and then where you know, if that was to happen for either of them, then suddenly like the first spot is like really tight, I think. Yeah, it's obviously dependent on how things are, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say Gen G, like I think most of like top teams, like last year at least, they were seeing the LCK Cup as a bit of a Mickey Mouse Cup, you know, like they weren't putting a lot of effort to it. So from what I heard, so yeah, I think Gen G when it will come to the LCK season, they will be dominant for sure. I don't really know about the LCK Cup because, as you said, I think it's a lot about like how much team figure out stuff quickly and also how much effort they are putting to it, because I'm not sure every team will give the same amount of effort on that part of the season, especially when your teams like T1 and stuff that, you know, I think they have a very good way to manage the efforts, you know, and they really know when they need to peak and when they need to give most of themselves, you know. So but I feel like when you're Gen G and you saw how many times you fail at Worlds, you need to maybe start easing up stuff on the first part of the season. So I hope actually that they don't win the LCK Cup, and maybe that they look a bit worse at LCK during the LCK season and stuff, because I just hope that they start trying to, you know, have a growth over the year more than dominate the whole year to kind of crumble at the worst timing, you know. I prefer them to grow, to have a, let's say, a logical growth, you know, and just arrive at Worlds on the best condition than just being completely burned out when they arrive, you know.
Yeah.
Right, that wraps up LCK then. Should we do LPL next?
Yeah.
So, caveat for the LPL, we've done the top 8 rather than the whole league.
Yeah.
Because, and I'll,
I mean,
I'll
I can
speak for
also
myself.
look at. We can also quickly chat about the other 6. I don't think it's going to take long if you want to, but like, because I followed the whole off season, in the sense. I only think that like, in terms of teams, it doesn't really change much. Like you expect like LGD, Ultra Prime, OMG, TT to be kind of back markers. I actually think that OMG's has a decent team actually, which is why I put them 11th, which is kind of a little bit higher compared to last year. And then NIP and WE I put 10th and 9th. I just think they have a decent roster, but I'm not expecting them to be anywhere like close to the top 8. I think we have pretty much set. We all agree that we have the same 8 teams in the top 8, which I guess makes sense. So
Yeah.
let's start looking at
Yeah,
those.
kind of sad for WE. You know, I feel like they kind of lost that that potential they had with the last year team.
I mean, yeah, I guess had they kept together, I probably would have pushed them a little bit higher. But I think losing the bot lane was quite big. Even though
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think their top side is quite good. Like, I genuinely think that the W's top side with Karsa, and I forgot the other names players, but like there are two Koreans out there, I think, with Cube and Monkey, yeah.
Cube, Monkey, and Karisa. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were like seriously like a really good trio. I'm just not sure whether the new bot lane will perform to the same level.
Yeah.
Right, let's crack on then with our top 8 quickly at how close we had the rankings to see what we should reveal first. Maybe we do 7th and 8th first, which were I think sort of in agreement. Maybe just flipped around. But we've got LNG and EDG. So on average, we've got EDG 8th, whereas Davide had them in 7th. Guys.
Actually, I have to make a premise here because I actually put EDG 6 initially and then changed them back.
I can see why. Honestly, I can see why.
Like, we can get into that very shortly because I did it like literally like 2 days ago. I think the main reason why I put EDG above is that they already had a pretty good team last year, and then they made one clear upgrade in the position where I think they were lacking the most, which was ADC. I think them getting Leave back is a great pickup. Like, the guy was actually like the main carry for NIP last year, and I think he had some really great moments on that team. And I'm assuming that he joining one of the team that he's already comfortable with and having a team that has actually a decent floor will make me believe that EDG can actually be close to contending for a top 6 spot. Especially because I'm also very excited about support Parukia. Like, this guy was rookie of the year for me last year in the LPL, even though he only played one split. Like, this guy is honestly like very cracked to me. And I'm very excited alongside another support that we'll get into later. And I think like the top side is decent. Like, you have ZDZ, which is like pretty decent in terms of potential, and then was it Angel and I'm Xiaohao, yeah. Like, these guys have been playing the LPL for quite some time, and they have been playing like mid pack teams, I would say. Some of them have played in top teams as well. But they're known for fight, like they're used to fighting like when it gets very scrappy. And so that is why I put them over LNG, which I think has a decent team. I'm just not really sure about the new some of the players they picked up. Mainly for me, it's Bulldog and Missing, actually. I think Bulldog had a really tough season last year on DNF. You mentioned Pulisic. I actually think Bulldog was my criminal player for last year's terrible showing.
But I still think he has a lot. He's a player with a lot of potential. You know.
Yeah, like, no, definitely. I agree. It's just that I'm not sold on right now. And then Missing his back. He can be either like one of the best supports in the league or like look terrible once again. That gave me some volatility. I think actually like the shining points are Croco and YXN.
Yeah,
people have been sleeping on YXN. Like this guy, it's not that bad, you know.
Yeah, to me, this guy is cracked. Honestly, to me, this guy is cracked. I can see him.
Like this guy has been like he's kind of like being jailed into TT. You know, it's like one of the bottom teams. Was actually, I think he was one of the shining points of that team.
Yeah.
So definitely is a good pickup. So
I'm happy to finally see him on another team. You know, that plays at least the middle of the standings. You know.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know,
and with Missing as well, you know, he has a very experienced support by his side. So I think, you know, there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of things that can go well with this team, more than things that can go bad.
Yeah.
They can only improve from that point. Like with the players they picked up. I feel like also Kroko is that experienced guy that will that can lead this team. And yeah, Sheer has always been consistently decent player to me. So yeah, I feel like this team is like smart in how it was built, honestly.
Okay, fair. I agree. Like, I think these two teams are very close. I think in
While
the
Edward
short,
Gaming, Edward Gaming, they kind of keep the formula they had last year, which started working very late in the year, right? But they started working at some point. So it's a kind of a gamble, we were growing last year, so we keep the same formula and just change the one weak link in the team and see what happens, So yeah, I think those two teams are very different in how they got built, but in the end they can work both equally, Like we're kind of aligned, I think, on the fact that these two teams will for sure compete for in the top 8. Now, at what spot? It's kind of the question.
mm-hmm.
I think next, maybe we do the next 4 because they're all a bit flipped round. So there's not like a clear 2 or 3 we can do. So let's just jump for the next 4. So in 6 we've got IG, 5th Top Esports, 4th Weibo, and 3rd JDG. But again, they're all a bit.
But have you guys seen that Demacia Cup?
No, I moved IG immediately above VDG after that Demacia Cup. Because like I actually haven't I didn't watch the semifinals, but then I watched the whole final. And I was like, what? What is this? Like, am I seeing the Shy in the top lane? And I was like, out of a guy who just like was randomly playing like in tier 2 last year. Like it really surprised me. And then one thing that surprised me was actually like the fact that IG was playing with no rookie. Like they weren't playing with rookie. They were playing with Renard, which is like their rookie. Sorry, like pun of word, like playing with words, but like the new talent coming in. But it's like it feels like IG is really already working with really well. I think actually the standing out member for me was Wei. He completely demolished Junja in the Masa Cup final. And I think just it looks very balanced, which is kind of weird to me. Like coming out of like 2025 IG, the team looks very balanced to me. Or like in the way they play, they look a lot more composed. They actually have a clear, like it looked like they had clear plans on how they want to play. They're not polished 100%, which is why I put them 6. But I think they have a clear idea on how the team wants to play together. And I think if I was
then it was the problem.
Yeah, I was if I initially at the start of the season I was like after the off season I was putting them closer to EDG and LG. I actually think they're much closer to Top Esports and JDG right now. Especially if Rookie comes back and Rookie stays Rookie in terms of quantity and level of play.
Honestly, I'd say because Renard had a very good, very good final.
Yeah, actually, yeah, which is why that now makes me question like, will actually Renard get some game time?
Yeah.
You know?
But I think I think that's what they needed to do, with this IG roster, because they were kind of stuck in the past with Rookie, the Shy and stuff, being like the faces of this org and of this team, and so when they come back, they have to bring them back with them, But I think like actually taking a gamble on strong academy players and stuff, I think that's how you can really reborn as a team, and we saw that at the Masha Cup, it can work, and yeah, I feel like if Wei as well, because Wei is known to be very inconsistent as well. If Wei keep up with the level of performances that he has shown at this Demacia Cup during the year, actually there's a lot to do with this team. I'm very interested as well to see Jouet, honestly, with this roster, because I think he was a very promising player last year. And And yeah, honestly, like just looking at those players, you don't expect much, and the fact that they can actually do much is good as well for GLPL, because I think the league as a whole is kind of lacking talent recently. So the fact that there are new players that are coming in and actually performing, I'm very happy with that, you know.
Yeah.
As well as another team that we'll talk about in a few moments.
I think. Oof. Do you think that top esports will actually fight for the top spots this year?
Well, I know because I put them top 6, so.
No, I like. For me, it's like even with Jackie Love coming back, because like I put top esports right now 5th because Jackie Love is not expected to play at the start.
Yeah,
I
same.
think potentially coming back, can bump up the team. But
Tell
I
me,
feel I don't feel like
who are Nayu and Fengyu, man? Like, who are these guys?
I mean, I actually Nayo is the like now there's like the meme because it's like actually Nayo means cream,
Okay.
so it's like cream and cream.
Yeah.
So there's like cream in Chinese they also call him Nayo.
Okay.
So it's Xiao Nayo and Nayo, which is like little cream and cream.
Yeah.
And like actually Nayo was pretty good, I think. Like
Yeah, with an IP, he was fine.
he used to play for Top Esports Academy, I think.
Okay.
He already was like I think he was kind of gate kept by Top Esports junglers, which were like TN and stuff like that. Which is why he then moved to other teams to get his tier 1 opportunity. Obviously think that he's nowhere close to Kanavi's level. But I just guess that having someone with less aggressiveness can make players like Cream shine more. It's like it always felt like Kanavi was kind of playing around with like dolls and everyone else, and like was forcing everyone to play around him. And I think Cream has actually was one of the most improved players to me this season, like in 2025, in terms of how he became a complete package. You know, like we always used to blame him for having like poor champion pool issues or like not
playing only AGCs or Yone and
like
stuff.
like not showing up when stakes were high. But I think he was actually pretty good throughout the whole year, and then he obviously started playing like Azir and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, he didn't do bad at Worlds to me. I'm actually more concerned about my 4th place, because like I put JDG 4th not because of Gala mainly, and because of Tabe. After that, the Massacre final, I'm not really sure.
At least they went to final, right?
Yeah, they went to final, but like Honkyu and Junja, oh my god, did they shit the bed?
Yeah.
Like obviously there's some recency bias. I kind of want to remove it from my thought process, but I think the team will need a lot of time. I feel like I'm expecting kind of a growth trajectory similar to ALs, where they ramp up a couple of months in. I'm not expecting JDG to be good from the start, but I don't think the potential is as high as AL's roster, based on the names. If that's one, like
that makes sense, yeah.
by what I think, which is why the highest I can put them is 3rd, but they can also go as low as 6th.
Yeah, but I do think they can. Nah, I was gonna say, like, I think in the long run maybe they can take out one of the top 2. You know, I think it's a possibility. I think AL especially. I think AL especially. Now that Tabi is out and stuff, now that maybe, you know, they had the best opportunity they could have hoped for last year and it didn't work out because they were so close every time, maybe it can break you, you know, and maybe in the end it can get to your mind. And I think they will start, for sure, they will start the season with an advance and an advantage overall over the other teams because of the fact that they played all the year together, that they were for sure the best LPL team in last year. But I still do think that they can drop down very quickly. Like I think their form, like coming into Worlds, I don't expect to see the same AL that I saw this year, honestly. With the fact that they changed the coaching staff, with the fact that I think other teams in the LPL got reinforced a bit. And actually, you know, when I look at Vampire, Onkyu, even Xiaoshu, when I look at Top Esports and seeing like Nayu, Fengyue and stuff, like I feel like there's a lot of new players coming into GLPL and that's refreshing, you know, and also because of the fact that recently LPL has been mostly known for importing Koreans, right? So now seeing the fact that they are bringing in new rookies and stuff, it's even in the best teams, right? I think like it's a good sign for a league that, you know, everyone is saying recently that the LPL is dying and stuff. So seeing new fresh air is really a good sign to me.
Dying because the results don't come and they don't have money, so they need to resort to lower,
course.
cheaper
Yeah, the
players.
Korean
Of
players
course,
going back.
but of course, but in the end, I think it's needed for the region as a whole.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely, I
to
agree.
get
Like,
better.
definitely,
You know?
it's good. It's good to have. Actually, I want to jump into AL later because obviously we
Yeah.
can assume like which two teams are left in the top two.
Yeah.
I want to quickly touch upon Weibo because we think we put I put them third, I put them third, you put them fourth, Ethan and Lee put them fifth.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to ask Lee why he put them fifth.
To be fair, of the three of us, my LPL rankings are probably the least reliable because I definitely watch it far less than you guys. I think
I can see them going fifth, honestly.
No, I can
them
see
going
them
fifth.
going fifth as well, but I actually think like in terms of dynamic of the team, I actually think like they are one of the teams that have a bit like a more stable floor, if I put it that way.
Yeah.
Like if compared to like I would say that Top Esports and Weibo Gaming can have similar potential, but like Weibo's gaming's floor is much higher. I think JDG's potential can be higher, but their floor is also lower than Weibo, which is why then I put them third. I put Weibo third. My main reason is Elk coming in, and then the fact that they have Jija, which can technically, I think, fall well in a team where they have multiple carries. Because like if you think about it, Jija's shown the most when he had reliable carries that he can play around. That happened during EDG's run with Viper and Scout.
Yeah.
It didn't happen last year with IG because I think the Shy and Rookie were very
For sure.
volatile to,
Yeah, and
to say
especially
the least.
Rookie actually, especially Rookie.
Especially Rookie at the start of the season when JJ was playing before Wei moved in. And so I think like it looks very solid to me. Like Breed is super good, I think he's probably after 369 and Bin the best top laner in the league.
Yeah. I can see.
And Elk
I mean, there's 369 as well.
Elk is technically like like Elk technically is a top tier ADC. I think it's and you got Xiaohu, which is I don't know, like
the foundation.
Yeah, like it's the Chinese faker. That's how I call him right now because like this guy has been playing forever for God knows how long, and he's still there. It's not like he sucks, but he's still like.
But he's reliable actually. This
he's
is the guy that
reliable,
will get you to Worlds, you know, like.
Yeah, exactly. And I think they have all the cards they need. I trolled it. It's not Breathe, it's Zika. But like even Zika is
I thought you were talking about Zika actually. Okay.
Yeah. Like even Zika is not too bad. Like I think he would just very gate kept in LNG. In terms of like I remember when he was playing when LNG got to Worlds, this guy was pretty decent.
In 2024, he was one of the best to me in LPL, honestly.
So I think that's why I put Weibo third. Shall we go to the top?
Is Bress teamless?
Breathe, I think, is still contracted, but he's not playing. He shouldn't.
That's actually crazy. Honestly, that's crazy.
Like he's technically contracted, but I'm not sure if he's playing, like who will be starting. But I think regardless of who starts between the two, is like still a top team. Like
Yeah.
I think if you just look at the whole roster, it's very very stacked.
Yeah. They even
Say the least.
have Coach Kim from Genji and stuff, so they have ambitions for sure. But I
Yeah, I
mean,
have a couple of considerations to be made about Kim, considering how
yeah, for
he
sure.
kind of ruined Genji last year. But
Yeah, but honestly, if you look at the year overall, like the Genji had a very, very, very good year.
no,
Like
of
they
course,
were
like
extremely
yeah,
dominant and stuff. But I feel like
definitely.
what is funny with Weibo, what is funny is the fact that every year I feel like they are competing for the top four every year. Like they are top four like so consistently. It's kind of crazy. Not even like top three, top two, always top four. And it's kind of fun, like how they always qualify to those regional finals for Worlds and stuff. So yeah, I feel like they're at the spot where they should be again, this year, which is kind of fun. But yeah, for JGG, honestly, I want this team to improve, like for sure, because I think they have a high ceiling. I think they are they are bringing for sure like fresh air, with Onkyu, with Vampire, with Junja and stuff, and also the fact that Gala, I feel like Gala always had to be the main carry in a team, and I feel like with this team, Junja and Onkyu showed it with CFO. They can take a lot of responsibilities as well, and I think that's something that can help a lot Gala, being kind of unleashed because he won't have to carry the whole team on his back. He has two players that can take on the carry role.
Anyway,
Let's do the top two.
And
shall we do
yeah,
top two?
I honestly don't expect much about for top sports, but let's see.
Well, top two then. Obviously it's clear who it is, but in which order? So number 2, anyone's legend. Obviously
You guys are
leaving
criminal.
BLG number 1.
You guys are
Davide the outlier with anyone's
criminals.
legend first.
Tell me where that
After
vision come
that,
from.
after that, the massacre, man. Holy moly! Like, how can you lose, like, not win any series with 40 of your core members? No, like, jokes aside, like, I definitely like. I agree that BLG's potential is infinitely higher than AL's. I think the one reason I put AL first is that I think in the short term, AL's form and just the fact that these guys have played together for already a year, even though they lost top A, I think like they're like a known quantity, and I'm expecting them to not really move much going like in the first part of the season, which makes me believe that they'll be going to be a little bit more consistent. I'm not sure, like I'm actually a little bit not like skeptical, but just like dubious about Helper, because like he was with Kim on Genji last year. I'm not sure who was making the drafts or who was making the calls. But that can be potentially a little bit troublesome over a longer period of time. But I think just like AL for me is pretty much a solid team. I definitely think that BLG has a higher ceiling, but they will need more time to figure it out. The main reasons for me are, first of all, Viper and on. I always rate Viper very highly, but I'm not really sure like how Viper on are supposed to play in that BLG's roster. I don't think neither of those, like I don't think on is about support per se, but it's just that I need to see what kind of dynamic and what kind of role BLG wants to give to Viper, whether it's more like the I chill and play for scaling like he used to do on Helma Life, or whether actually BLG wants to play around more. Because I think it's based on that, On's potential changes completely.
Yeah.
I think Viper and On, the way I'm expecting them, or like I want to see them, is actually being very aggressive and having Shun play around them, because I think like Bean and Knight are more than self-sustainable in the sense of resources and carry potential, especially Knight. and I actually want BLG to play more around their bot lane because I don't think they did much last year with Elk. Like they,
And I think that's one of On's main strengths, right? You know, to play
yeah,
lane, to play in those kind
yeah,
of early champion and stuff.
and I think that's like, it's not like BLG didn't. It's, I think they didn't do it well, and I think on you still want to like retain On's potential, and you basically have like a jack of all trades where like Viper can like do basically everything or like most of the things to a very high level. So regardless of what role you give to him, he's more likely to give you a more consistent level of play and consistent gameplay as to On having to do different stuff. I think like my other concern, it's like even a concern. It's just like Danny is usually very slow to adapting to quick metas or like to new metas, especially when there's like big shifts. My biggest counter examples are when IG went prepare against T1 at Worlds, they had like 3 weeks of time of full prep where they can just figure out the whole meta, and Danny did a really good job. Like people keep praising, like even T1 players used to praise Danny's prep when they played against each other. But I think Danny usually has the tendency of overthinking stuff or trying to over innovate during the regular season, or like in specific moments of the season where he thinks he wants to find new edges, but then he kind of fumbles apart because he tries to do too many things. And I think that will hurt BLG's consistency a little bit throughout the course of the first part of the season, while they're still also figuring out the other identity issue that I was talking about before, about Viper and Owen and On, and how they will then decide how the rest of the team plays. So
I guess with IG, it might have been also like the drafts might have been also a lot about G players, you know. Like for example, Deshai willing to play his carries, his Jace, his Fiora, his whatever, you know. Like the fact that I think the players had champions where they felt like they were much better than others, maybe limited a bit than his options. While I think with BLG, he has for sure much more well-rounded players that can play much more champions, you know. So maybe it can enable him as well. Like let's see how it goes, because I think IG was kind of a year where, you know, anything could have happened with those players and the drafts that they wanted to bring onto the table and stuff. So I guess with BLG now you have more reliable players that are like much more adapted to the meta and stuff. I want to give him, you know, the chance. You know, I'm not stopped, or I don't have fixed ideas on how I see him before I will have after that BLG year. You know, I need to see what he does with BLG first, but I agree with you that like bot lane, I want them to play bot lane also because Bin last year played a lot weak side, like a lot more, like he learned a lot to play tanks and stuff, which was not the case before, right? So I guess now you have more agency to actually have a stronger bot lane, you know, and put more, you know, resources towards them.
Yeah, I'm also thinking about two other things that we were related to the new season that we were talking about before. Mainly the fact that like top lane agency should increase, which obviously means that Beans, whose tendency is I kind of rate Bean as the Chinese version of Zeus in the way of like the way he can play or he wants to play. He can have that dominant part where he just stomps people, and I think that obviously you have Knight, which is like Knight. I don't have to like do much.
Basically, the Chinese Shovi, honestly.
Yeah, like much explanation about that, and I think just like Shun is very known for being has skirmish heavy, or like wanting to go for fights, but the fact that the jungle overall is slowing down in terms of how they can quickly move across the map, or like how quickly they can help out teammates, will mean that the laning power for players will mean more, which I think is the shining point for BLG. Like you have basically 3 top tier lanes. I might have some issues on their team fighting, which we already saw at the Master Cup, which was very, very messy to me. which think needs, like, it's clear that they need fix. I just don't know how much time they will take.
I think Shun
Which
for
is
sure
why-
bring much more shot calling to those kind of situations.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree. But I think AL's team fighting is all more polished because of the, like,
Of course, yeah.
that was their forte last year.
Yeah.
And I'm still expecting them to kind of be stronger a little bit at the start. Or if we were to put rankings for the entire season, I would definitely put BLG above them.
Yeah. Also because of the fact that, as you said, season 16 changes might, impact more the team fights, the importance of team fight actually. Because I think now we will see much more split pushing. We will see much more side lane overall, and I think Bin and Knight are demons when it comes to side laning. While, for example, I think Flandre and Chunks haven't shown that that can be their biggest strengths. They are known for being very good at controlling space, playing around some areas like the Dragon and the Nashor pits and stuff. Because as you said, they are very reliant when it came to team fights. But yeah, I think like BLG is much more well-rounded. They can do much more things, and they can adapt better to the meta. And right now, the meta is shifting to me. So yeah, towards much more like pushing heavy situation and sieging and stuff. So yeah, I do think that BLG has a clear edge over AL in that regards. That's also why I put BLG first.
Can we have a look at the LCS then?
Yes.
Yo.
Are we short on time?
No, we're fine. I mean, I've got all day, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
in no rush.
Well, I don't, but yeah.
How much time have you got?
No, honestly, I'm fine, but it's just that I need to have the presentation of Navi ready for like the end of the afternoon, basically.
Yeah, we're fine. We're not going to take hours and hours. Don't worry.
Mm.
Okay, let me just quickly check actually how the LCS ones look in the rankings, just to see what we can reveal first. Maybe let's do the bottom two, because I feel like those are like the probably clearer ones.
By the way,
go on.
Yeah, by the way, I just saw on Reddit that they posted the LCK Cup group drafts. We have one group with T1 Gen G, and then the other one has, like, look at this, like, listen to this. Hung Alive, D plus Kia, KT Roaster, BNK VRX, and DRX.
And how do they make it actually? Like what's the
I'm not sure. I'm just like, honestly, it's like the group elder is stacked, man. Like HLE, DK, KT, BNK, and DRX.
But the thing is, Anwar Life should have a better. They should have a clear edge over the others, to me.
Yeah, but like D plus until DRX is like, holy moly, it's very exciting.
Yeah. Like there's for sure a team that will not make it that should have made it, to
Yeah. But yeah,
and actually, hot take, I think it will be KT. I think KT.
I can see that. I can see that. I mean, my boy is a Scout hater and a BNK lover. This guy is a diabolical lover.
Yeah, aren't you?
I mean, I love the guy. I really wish this is going to be his last year on BNK. I really want him to like move up to the big teams. I just don't want him to be gate capped in the bottom teams,
But even in lower teams, he's making miracles. So I'm fine as long as he plays in at least the middle of the standings. I'm fine. But of course, I want him to reach higher ceilings.
Shall we go to LCS?
Yeah.
Go for it. So, bottom two then. Number 8, Disguised. Number 7, Dignitas. Probably not any surprises there. Everyone was in complete agreement.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of sad because these guys came to the league with like, fresh, it's a new team, right? So I was hoping that they would kind of put the effort. Also because I think they are an influencer team, right?
Disguised?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Disguise
I mean,
toast.
the one thing, the one thing that I praise this guys is his willingness to give chance to new talents. Like even this year they got Sajid and I'm not sure if it's called like that. Apologies if it's wrong, but like and Kryra, which are uh players who used to play in LCL. Um, I think that the issue with this guys is that they want to keep that philosophy of wanting to give play like space to new talents, but then that means that they're always bound to get a little bit of an unknown quantity, especially because the rest of the players are usually not going to be top tier, which then means that they're not going to necessarily perform well. And I actually think this year's LCS is going to be very tough in the sense that the top half is very strong, or like it's quite stacked to the point where it's even a team like if we can scroll to the sixth one, even FlyQuest that we all put on six is only six. Like I actually wish to put FlyQuest any higher, but then if I was just like looking at all the other rosters and I couldn't see a situation where I put them put them higher than six, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
And actually, I'm looking at Dignitas roster. Actually, even Dignitas is fine, you know.
yeah,
Like they get,
even Dickinson roster is fine. I think it's way
Yeah.
better than last year's.
yeah.
It's
They
like,
got like FBI, Agnar. They got Palafox. Like
yeah,
these are players that can compete with the
Photon.
top players, you know.
like
Yeah, Photon.
my biggest example is like this is kind of like basically what DRX and being like like supers did. They tried to upgrade their rosters, but everyone upgraded, and so like they ended up also like falling short, you know. I
Yeah.
think this guys is the only roster that kind of kept a similar level, but they
Yeah.
gave like chances to new players, which I think is still very positive for the
Actually, I'm
scene.
hyped about Call Me. He was very good in
And
TCL
also
this
call
year.
me, yes, exactly. Also call me.
Yeah.
I think that was probably like a really good pickup. For Disguised. I'm not sure how that ended up happening.
Yeah.
but
Kind of weird. Yeah.
but like even Dignitas with Ignore and Photon, which are should technically be some pretty stable players, and then
Yeah.
having the domestic trio of FBI, XU, and Palafox doesn't really scream bad to me. Like FBI was on 100 things last year. He wasn't like bad, you know. He actually had a
He
pretty
has
good
always been
showing.
like kind of the gatekeeper of the top three, you know. Like he's always fine. He's always
Yeah.
decent for sure.
I forgot
So
Swiffer was
it's
their
like,
coach as well. That's positive, I think. As
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not. I was looking at Dick Nicholas and I was like, do they really deserve 7? I don't even think they
Yeah.
deserve 7. Like I used to like, how do you say, blame or like point the finger at Dick Nicholas for slacking off a little bit with the roster building over the past few years. I don't think they did bad this year, but just it's it's just there, you know.
Yeah. And also they are known for not having good results. So that for sure, like
Yeah.
the
That
culture
I always say.
of an org is something, you know.
Yeah. Like, what do you think, guys, think about FlyQuest? Because I was actually
I'm hyped. Honestly, I'm hyped.
I'm
But
hyped as well.
yeah, I'm hyped because I feel like it's like they have a new generation coming. It's, you know, it's like West new gen, you know,
Yeah.
And I think that's again when I said like when you finish a cycle, to me, the rebuild comes through fresh like new blood, you know. For example, with JDG, for example, with IG as well. For me, you know, you have to take a gamble at some point and actually bet on the next generation, you know. And I feel like they are doing it well. I think Gagos, I'm completely in shocked because I'm watching a lot of in-houses. Like, you know, the European players are playing in-houses and stuff
Yeah.
on the tournament server so they can play in the season 16, right? With other pro players. And Gagos, this guy is always there. Like whenever there is an in-house, he's there in Europe. And that's kind of funny because he's in his off season, he's in off time. I guess he's in Europe chilling with his family or something before the season starts. And even there, he's just like working his ass off, you know. I think this guy is very, very promising, very, very talented for sure. Like I know a lot of teams were interested in him before FlyQuest secured him last year. And the fact that he got to learn like behind Bwipo is also something, you know. I think he for sure learned a lot. And yeah, I guess Griffin, you know, this guy he was so talented that he played with T1 Academy. T1 reached out to him themselves, you know. So I guess now that he gets finally a shot in Tier 1, like last year he was already in Tier 1 with Loud, but let's say now he's, you know, in a bigger league and with bigger strengths, right? So I'm kind of hyped. I know Cryogen was also very, very wanted by a lot of EU Academy team. So I guess, you know, these are all talented players. It's just how will it work out? Because I think that if actually this team manages well with Quad and Masu as, you know, the foundations already of the team, but also like they can lead the new generation. They've got enough now, let's say, experience from their last roster that now maybe they can take over. And yeah, I'm just very pleased to see this kind of roster in the LCS, where, you know, it's all about imports and stuff, right? Because we're gonna go towards that right after. But to see they're betting on a new taking a gamble and trying things with rookie is actually, yeah, very, like, I'm very, very pleased to see that. And yeah, I think in the long run they can do something. Obviously, I'm not expecting them, like 6 is a good place to start, you know, honestly. But in the long run, I can see them being higher, like way higher, maybe even enter the top 3, you know, if it works well.
Yeah, definitely. I had the same thought. My biggest question marks were on Griffin and Cryogen, the two
Yeah,
full new players.
Same.
Not necessarily about their in-game. Like I've seen Griffin play. I think he is very, very talented. He's super young. Has so much time. Like this guy had like super hard, like grinding mentality. Like when this guy was like 14, 15. I think having that mentality is what makes you then become into a great player. I'm not really sure about Cryogen. I haven't really heard much about him, to be honest. But if I believe that FlyQuest, like the one thing I trust is FlyQuest's roster building philosophy. Like they did that with Masu when Masu first came in. You could say that they kind of did that with Busio, where they turned him into a top tier Western support, because I don't think he was that strong when he was playing on 100 Thieves with
He was already expected to be a huge player, I think, a huge talent for the region.
I think when I used to watch him when he was playing on 100 Thieves, didn't really give me that much of an impression. I definitely
like
think
Rookie of the Year that year with 100 Chiefs.
I might be my memory might be destroying me, but
possibly.
But definitely, I think it's like the fact that they picked up the right players, and FlyQuest made it to Worlds over the last 2 years as the most successful org, means that I think they have a really good scouting. I'm actually, you know, about Gakkos, I think I really want to see him how he fares off, because I could
It
see
wasn't
him
actually just my bad. It wasn't.
Yeah. Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. My memory does. I actually think Gakkos is like a seriously good top laner. Like maybe hot take. I'm not sure. Like he could be in my top 2 for this year, and my top 2 only has Morgan in it. I'm not sure what you guys think, but I have Morgan in my top 2 in the LCS player rankings for top lane.
You have what?
Morgan.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Like I don't know who I would who would I put after him, because I think Impact, Fudge,
down for
Thanatos
sure,
are like in the same tier, or maybe like
and they're all
but,
players
like,
that are dropping down in form for sure.
Yeah. So I'm not really sure. But definitely Morgan is my top 1, and I think Echoes he's probably one of the new guys who has the potential to match him.
And I can tell you, Cryogen, for example, like G2 Academy wanted him like very, very badly.
Oh, okay, fair.
I feel like maybe the
So
bigger
we
question
like
mark
picking from what?
is on the coaching staff as well. Like the Nuke Duck Mithy influence gone.
Yeah.
I don't know what was like.
I'm
Think
glad-
was in Brazil, right? I don't really
I'm-
know what he was doing.
Yeah.
I think ThinkCard is
Elemental,
actually.
right?
I actually think ThinkCard is a genius pickup. I think this guy was the guy who led Furia to
MSI. Yeah.
internationals to MSI. He's very, very innovative from the way he analyzes and sees the game, which I think can be a double-edged sword when you're trying to build a new roster, or like when you're trying to
Especially
work out
with
a new
rookies,
roster.
right?
Especially with rookies, because they are more malleable and you can turn them into whatever you want technically on paper, but at the same time you're not really sure about their consistency, or like whether they can consistently deliver a high level of gameplay with anything you give them. But definitely I think ThinkCard was a solid pickup, and I'm positive that FlyQuest might they will start at 6, but I'm definitely hoping and expecting them to be much higher by the time we get towards the end of the season. I'm not really sure whether they make it to Worlds though. That is my question mark. Because
I think honestly they have less chances that they had in the previous years, right? Like we have to be honest, but
yeah,
in the end, I still do think that it's the right way to go. You know, when you get rid of expired repo and stuff, it's the right way to go to actually go with this kind of profiles.
True.
Shall we do some more then?
Yeah.
Maybe we do the next two because those, definitely as a pack. So, 5th place, Shopify Rebellion. 4th place, Sentinels. But with Davide switching them around.
I'm always the odd one out here trying to switch up stuff to make discussions.
Actually, to be fair, now that I'm looking at the now I've got the rosters and I've been looking through them again. I was kind of thinking maybe I would have Shopify just ahead, but I don't know. It's really close. I think the Zinni pickup for Shopify is massive, right? Like a lot of teams are off.
Yeah, but again, Zinni might be too overhyped from what I heard.
I've also heard similar things. Like people keep saying that like it's not strong, but the same for me. The question mark, or like the how you say, the difference maker was once again roster building. So like Shopify Rebellion had let's say quite a successful year in 2025 with a solid core. They only changed one player, which I think is Palafox with Zinni.
Yep.
And even though I don't think Zinni is, I wouldn't call him like Knight and Chovy in the sense of like he makes that much of a difference inside the team. I think he's still technically an upgrade over Palafox, which makes me think that overall like SR's floor is a little bit better. I definitely think, however, that Sentinel's potential over time with Golden Glue coming in and then with the rest of the roster can be higher than Shopify. I just think that Shopify in the short term will be slightly stronger.
Definitely, this is like Sentinels is really an LCK team, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like it's so weird because like you're looking at that and you have Impact, Hambach, Darkwings, Rahel, and Huhi. Like
Darkwing really is the polar bear in Arlington, Texas, you know. Like it's
like for me, it's like Impact has been struggling, which was one of the reasons why I haven't rated Sentinels as highly, because I think the shining points are actually Hambach and the bot lane.
I'm back, especially. I'm very happy.
I'm especially about Hambach, exactly. I'm not really sure about Rahel alone. I think Rahel and Huhi are a solid bot lane.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure Rahel as a standalone player is shining enough, especially if you compare him to then the top 3, but also B-Boy. I don't
Yeah.
think I think B-Boy was one of the reasons why Asaro had a really successful year last year. And I don't think Rahel is much better than B-Boy.
I
actually
mean,
think
with
B-Boy,
SK Gaming, I remember a time when with SK Gaming where they went undefeated in the regular season, you know, in
yeah.
GLC. So
Yeah, but
you never know.
but
And
then
Rael was absolutely like smurfing, really. I remember those play like on Karsa where he just like completely smashed Super on Zeri, where he just like
was that
spaces
with
all his
Loopy?
Qs.
That was with Loopy, right? Am I when they played on
Maybe.
that
I
side?
think it was with Luon, no?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Luan.
yeah.
Yes, sorry, that's Luan.
And yeah, I
Yeah.
remember like before, like actually with Loopy didn't go that well, but with Luon actually they had very good duo. Like they were very good in lane, very like they really played the lane very hard, you know. There was also Niski on mid lane, which was helping them a lot, you know, being enabled because he had always like that push and always like it's you know it's Niski style push roam, push roam, push roam, and like yeah, they were really playing hard on bot lane. And I think Ui is kind of a similar player where he wants to play the lane, right? So so I'm hoping to see Rahel and Ui. I think there's something in that. Like I can see it. I can see it work. And also, yeah, as you said, I'm back. Like this guy has been so hyped, and I think like he was worthy of being hyped, you know, because his time with Brion was very good, even though the team didn't look that good at all.
I was actually looking back, like Dark Wings and the bot lane played together on Disguise last year.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's obviously good synergy out there.
Yeah,
I
probably.
actually think that Golden Glue is probably another good addition. I mean, you know, like new organization, new dynamics. There's always going to be some volatility over over a team that has been playing together for a year, basically.
For sure. Yeah.
So that was my main like the factor that moved Sentinels back. But I definitely think these two teams are in the same tier.
And you know, also it's funny the fact that we have an org from Valorant, you know, that is
Yeah,
coming to League rather than the contrary, because we are used to have the opposite, right? To have
yeah.
org that are in League of Legends historically that goes to Valo, and now we
Yeah.
have the opposite. Yeah, it's
Well,
kind of fun to
they were in
see.
League before, but when it was Phoenix
Really?
One, like that awful
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
brand.
man.
But
P1.
yeah, I think for that it's like it's good. I'm glad that they've tried to like build a decent roster first, like straight away to
Yeah.
actually like make a splash and get some fans in it as well. I feel like with Impact, you remember? Did you guys see the video that he did when he was leaving TL? It was like really
I
like
think I've
personal
seen
and
it.
like maybe was almost
Yeah.
like too honest for like a farewell video. But he was talking about like he'd like his relationship had finished and like personally he was
Yeah.
going through stuff and it felt like clearly the implication was that he was having a tough time outside the game and that had affected things and that was why he felt like it was time to move on.
And it showed, honestly, it showed on his gameplay for sure.
Yeah, and that sort of thing, like, you know, maybe it's been a few months now, things are hopefully settled down, got back in a better place. Golden Glue, like, obviously we don't really see what happens behind the scenes, but just from seeing how he is in like interviews and things, he seems like someone that I think I feel like I think I spoke to him for an interview in like Worlds last year, well not last year, the year before, and that was when Sniper was like the face of 100 Thieves, but he was coming in as like a child basically, and just the way that Golden Glue talked about it then, like it seemed like mentality wise, he's someone that, you know, seems like he's got a like decent head on his shoulders and can lead like mentally pretty well, like emotionally. So maybe that's going to help Impact as well.
I think like the fact that 100 Thieves brought like Golden Glue was able to lead 100 Thieves to a top 3 like top 3 in the LTA and then obviously a spot on Worlds is already a clear sign that this guy has like the right work approach, I would assume. I actually think going back to what you were saying, I used to fall like I've been watching Golden Glue for God knows how long, even when especially when he was playing as a mid laner in the LCS. I've always liked the fact that he always seemed kind of to me like the player that had some potential but couldn't really put it all together. And I think his own experience as a player really helps out in like managing and growing the new wave of players that might be going through a similar kind of phase, especially dealing with the stress that comes with it. And like he always seems very like like not a tough guy. He's like he the way he just speaks and goes around things is like blunt, but at the same time it doesn't, how do you say, like it feels like it's spontaneous. Like he's legit like trying to care about his players, and I think that will be a really good thing. Hopefully, if Impact is still dealing with stuff on his mind, he can also help with that. But I think Sentinels definitely. I'm actually excited. I was really worried that we're going to like take a like do a Navi move where they just like shit the bed for a bit. Like be a bottom team and then figure out things slowly, but they decided to immediately do it. I think that's probably because they have Valorant's presence.
I think they've done it
they're really
like sort of cleverly as well, because I feel like maybe apart from Impact, although maybe his stock had dropped a bit anyway.
Mm.
But it doesn't like immediately look like a roster that they would have had to overspend on, like, especially compared to what some other teams have done. It doesn't feel like they've maybe taken like massive risks, but at the same time have ended up with something that does look pretty.
I don't think so. I actually think Hambach's pickup was very smart.
Yeah.
Because Hambach was doing well in the LCK, but he was never going to get any space in the top teams. So you would rather want to go to a place new, to a new place with more chances of making it to internationals, but also having a strong core of players that's also Korean, which should technically make the meshing much easier. And especially you got Impact and Hookie, who these guys have been like playing in the LCS for God knows how long. Like I feel like Impact has been there for like 10 years already. Like Hookie has been there for like 10 years already. Like I remember Hookie playing like in CLG back in 2015. So it's like I think they have all the experience and tips they need to make him like feel accustomed. And then you got Dark Wings, which makes sense because you still want to have some domestic representation. He's probably the best one out there that you can get right now. That doesn't cost like a shit ton of money.
And honestly, even Impact, like if he got all his stuff sorted out and stuff, like I do think that he's a very good player still.
Yeah, it's
like
it's
in
not even
TL,
like if it was someone that's had like 1 or 2 good years and then they've dropped off quickly. Think,
Yeah.
maybe a risk expecting him to get back to it. Like Impact's been a good player for like 15 years. Like, it's
yeah,
not
and honestly, it was only like last year that the solo laners were not very, very performing in Team Liquid. But if you look at like the year right before, like in 2024, Impact was the best top laner in the league, no cap. Like, so yeah, I just think maybe he just needed to sort out some stuff. And if he did, honestly, Sentinels is going to be a very strong team.
Let's do top 3. I realise I didn't have this Excel showing when we revealed the last 2 either, so my bad. But anyway, I think the top 3, we've got a bit of variance. Going to get interesting actually. So 3rd place, on average, is Lion, but got Ethan with Cloud9 in 3rd. But then if we go and reveal the 2nd place, Davide and I have got TL, and that's where Ethan's got Lion, which means that for Davide and I, Ethan's 3rd place, Cloud9, we've both got in 1st, and Ethan's got TL 1st. Now,
why you guys are following each other like that? Like, how can this top 3 be so? Like, how can you be aligned on that top 3? I guess it's like it's very stacked, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, yeah, it is tough.
No,
I think.
actually,
And just to clarify, so that ended up meaning that C9 and TL actually had the same average rating. I've given C9 the tiebreaker as the team that has more first place picks, but technically we've actually got TL and C9 tied for 1st.
So actually, before Caspa Cup, because I had my power rankings basically sorted out like during Caspa Cup or like when Caspa was going on. After seeing C9 play, my question, like my thing was, I need to rate them higher than TL in current form because of how they performed at Caspa. But then I also had the issue where I was like, oh, but then there's also Lion. And I think Lion's potential is higher. But then I'm not really sure whether they will show up like C9 and TL did. So that's how I ended up with this ranking. I definitely think these three actually are in the same ballpark. I might see Lion a little bit lower compared to the other two at the start of the season, but I definitely see that like just the thought of having Berserker and Inspired to me is very exciting. Like I'm very very stock high on this team, and I definitely want to see them like perform well in that sense. I think that there's going to be a little bit more uncertainty around their new players because like Zamudo is one of the most long-awaited rookies. Like this guy should have played last year. He didn't get to play because of visa because he's Canadian, if I'm correct, and he couldn't play. And then there's also like Saint is good. I'm not really sure if he can. I think Quid is better. I'm not sure. I think he probably put him in a similar tier to APA, but then
I think Saint is kind of the same kind of player than like Zini, for example. You know.
yeah, it's like they're very. For me, it's like he's very anticipated, but at the same time,
Exactly. Yeah.
But like I don't think he has shown enough for me to put like rate him as high. And I just think
But
that
for sure, he's still on the upper
Yeah.
mid laner in the league.
Yeah, and I think just like I actually think among all these teams, if I had to choose just one to put higher than the others over the entire season, I would put TL actually, just because I
So
think
why did you put C9?
because I'm like I told you, I'm just basing them
because
on
of
the
Kiss
first
Backup.
like on the first part of the season. Like I think we can also go over like our power rankings again by the time we get to MSI, by the time we get to Worlds. But I think just like based on how Cena performed that, and also it follows the same philosophy like I said with SR. So they only kept the same 4 man, just changed one player.
But I think that one change is a downgrade actually. That's also why I put them.
I think it's
lower.
like a side. I treat APA and Loki as a side grade. Like I'm not sure why. I wasn't a fan of Loki last year, to be honest. Like even C9 in general, it looked very weird to me. But I think they were much better this year. I'm not sure what changed or what magic they did at the Caspa Cup, but like they looked a lot more convincing. I think the main reason is Blabber actually. Like Blabber seemed a lot more proactive in his gameplay.
Yeah.
And like in his comfort zone. Like we always know Blabber for being like kind of the I don't want how do I make comparison here? It's like Blabber has always been like
Peanut
the player.
maybe.
Not even Peanut. It's like a kind of a mix between Peanut and Kalavi to me. It's like he knows how to be aggressive, but he also can play like the stable play for the team play style with like Peanut does.
In Canyon maybe.
Yeah, maybe Canyon. Yes, I think probably Canyon is probably the best pick. But he doesn't go as crazy as Kanavi. Like he doesn't have those what the fuck moments. But I think like TL, the fact that they got Morgan, the fact that they got Quid, just those two alone are kind of insane. And then to me, TL's biggest concern is actually Jose Diodo.
Same.
Like,
Agree, yeah.
I'm not sure. It's like it's bad. It's just that
it's weird. I agree. It's weird.
It's weird.
Why?
It's weird. It's
coming
so
out of nowhere.
weird. It was so weird when I first heard it. Like, because especially like, I understand that UG didn't really live up to the expectations.
But still, he's a very young player and he's so anticipated and so like a lot of people expected him to be soon one of the top junglers.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact that Yuji basically came in to save you from a shit situation
Exactly.
that was leaving, and then he gets booted out. So that only makes me want to think that Yuji wasn't like didn't have the growth that they were expecting him to have.
Yeah, maybe.
And then
Maybe
which is why they
maybe they needed a leader, you know. Maybe
they wanted
needed
to
a
have
leader,
someone
you know.
like Jose Diodo who's probably a little bit more vocal, because
Yeah.
I always know that he used to be like someone who speaks up and is kind of, you know, all the teams he played, he's always known for having kind of a more level leadership. But then at the same time, I'm like, you already have someone like Core JJ. It's all like you're missing out voices. What does Jose Diodo bring to the table that doesn't other junglers do? So that is going to be one of my points of concern or doubts for TL. But definitely, I think they have the strongest third core in terms of carries. Morgan, if this guy doesn't stomp, like Lord Morgan must stomp the entire top lane in the LCS. Like this is my expectation for him. Anything lower than that is not.
It's really like Kana in LEC, like the same
it's not
type
acceptable.
of,
It's not acceptable. And I'm expecting Quid to do not like to do similar, but like I'm expecting Quid to also be like top 2 at least based on how he performed 100 Thieves. And Yeon has been like honestly very good. I think.
I mean, Yeon Core GG has been one of the best bot lane anyway
Yeah.
in the recent years in LCS. Yeah.
So like this team is successful, and also like there's the fact that they think who they have as a coach.
Spawn.
Stay off Spawn. I mean, like I'm not really sure because some people were questioning about his ability to work remotely. I think
I think he said
read
it's
that
going to
they,
be like a bit of both. Like he'll be there sometimes, but a decent chunk remote as well.
I think definitely like we don't know. I'm not sure about the entire dynamics. But definitely I think Spawn does a really great job in making people talk. Like he's very confrontational in the sense that when things go bad, he'll make the players speak out. Which I think if you can resolve that, makes the team stronger over a long period of time. I think TL, one of the biggest issues they had was the fact that there was probably some issues that weren't really being able, like they weren't being sorted out from the former lineup, which then also potentially goes back to UG, in the sense that he was probably one of the guys who couldn't really like make a step further in terms of growth. It's just that it's very sad to me that this guy only got half a season and he's now a free agent, and we don't even know what he's like where he can go next.
I hope he lands in Europe as Yukino, maybe, you know.
Do you think he'll move?
I think he might have to, because anyway, GNACL circuit is completely doomed, right? So you just, if you want to grow, you know, if you want to be seen and to be like kind of reckoned, you know, you have to go to Europe. I think if you're an NA player and you don't have a shot in LCS. So yeah, I hope he will. And actually, like for Jose Diodo, I feel like the only reason I can see why he's in Team Liquid right now is because maybe they wanted to have a jungler that is carrying the comb, kind of, you know. Like as you said, Core GG is already very vocal, but that's the only reason I can see why Jose Diodo is coming in, because of the fact that he's experienced, for sure, you know, and that he can for sure lead the comm of a team, I guess. So, and maybe UG was lacking that because obviously he's a very new player. And yeah, but honestly, the reason why I put Cloud9 third is because they were mostly all years second, right? Like in 2025. And I feel, again, like Loki was carrying this team. Loki. Like he was legit carrying this team. And now that he is out, yeah, I don't see it, honestly. I hope APA will have kind of a new breeze, you know, because honestly, I feel like he was not playing at his usual level at all last year with Team Liquid, as well as Impact, you know. But yeah, I just don't see it. I think like this roster is kind of, you know, those Vitality super team, you know, where they build they have all those superstars, all those players that have been very good in the past, and now you're like, you're coming in with this player in the roster, and you just top 5, top 6. I could see this team really fall down, really.
See,
That can be my hot take, that Cloud9 will be top 5 overall this year.
good one. I feel
But
like with the
I do
super
think
team
that
angle, though, like
Thanatos,
it's at least
Thanatos is bringing me a lot of hope for this team as well, because I think he might be one of the best top laner with Morgan for sure. Like, they should be top 2 for sure this year.
but it's also not like a group of like 5 brand new players that have not played together before. Like most of them have looked good together previously. So it's not. I don't think it's like out of the question. But yeah, I mean it's a good take. I like it. We'll see if it pans out. Well, that wraps up the rankings really. There's a couple of like random bits of news. I was kind of expecting, like, we've been away like 3 weeks. There's going to be so much that's gone on, but I guess everyone's been having a break, haven't they? There's not much news apart from what's happened in like Demacia Cup and stuff. One thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Go.
What were you gonna say?
Fnatic selling.
Oh shit! Yeah. Well, nothing's happened yet, has it? But yeah, there's the news that Fnatic are looking to sell and are like trying to, are like quoted for 100 million. Like that's what they're looking to sell for, which I feel like is very hopeful in this day and age. But yeah, what was it like? I didn't actually like read into it too much. What was there any other details beyond that?
Not really. Like, what like Fnatic is, it's kind of weird. Like I was looking at, like, so I look at the numbers, financial numbers, and then the like valuation don't really add up in terms of, like, from a pure numerical analysis. Like you would have to have like a 10x above that valuation. Obviously, like I know that like Fnatic used to have Fnatic gear, and other companies like even Sam Matthews used to say they have like a consolidated
Like I
balance
always
sheet
used to
that
hear
we
that the
probably...
gear like didn't make them much money though. You know, because even like
I mean, but like, yeah, but they got brought into like Sony Inso, which definitely technically should help out with costs and revenue. I would assume. But just judging from the limited company that we got, it's not that much. They actually lost a lot of money. I think the biggest loss for 2024 was the lack of results at the EWC. We still have to see the 2025 one, which probably is coming out sometime this year, but that will take some time to be released as well. But that, I mean, it's interesting because like I feel like Fnatic has been one of the longest standing esports organizations, and it's probably good to see them to have someone take over, in the sense that we probably get more investment, so we're probably going to get like more stability for the brand. At the same time, it kind of depends on who's going to build, like who's going to buy it, and what kind of what they want to do with it. Because I feel like Fnatic has always been very like competitive focused in terms of results. In all their, like, they're one of the teams that goes for excellence, and that usually means that they have to invest a lot of money into competitive esports operations. If that is no longer the case with the new investors, I think that like the brand value will go down a lot. To me, it's kind of like I'm trying to think if there's like someone else who had a similar thing. Not really, but just like, for example, like NIP, who used to be very focused on, like, they're always still focused on a couple of titles, but like NIP used to be I think over the past couple of years, much more for like they kind of shifted towards from esports to like doing other stuff in the space.
They have hotels right now.
Yeah, I mean, like especially when they did the IPO and then kind of like try to create more verticals. They're also now investing in crypto and stuff like that, Web3. It's obviously good because from a financial perspective, you need to have businesses that make money. As if that money can fund esports, I'm happy it goes that way. But it's still an esports team, so you, from like a purist perspective, you still want them to be successful.
It's
So
make me
I
laugh when
think
you see
a
these
lot.
like the teams trying to do like other verticals to actually make them some money so that the esports can continue. I'm always thinking like if the other things pay off and start making the money, why don't they just bin off the esports and just actually make some profit? But yeah, with the Fnatic one, like you're saying about 10x on revenues, like there are some like industries where that is roughly correct, but it's mostly things like subscription based stuff. So if you're a company that provides some sort of service that is subscription based and your clients are paying constantly on a subscription, that's more where the 10x thing is more appropriate, because you're expecting that this is like guaranteed money usually for the next 10 years anyway. But yeah, with something like esports, I don't get where the hell they're pulling that number out, unless they're just trying to start. I mean, well, to be fair, most of the value comes from the brand of Fnatic really being one of the biggest in esports. And if you are still somebody looking to invest in esports that for some reason hasn't done it already, then there's not many bigger brands you could get. But still, 100 million seems hopeful. Maybe the most likely scenario that someone could pay that, I don't know, like doesn't seem implausible to me that like there could be like a Saudi bid of some kind. Like they obviously the thing with Falcons is having them sort of propped up as the best like multi-title esports team, and having them win the esports World Cup and try and make it look like they're the biggest org, but still without like the cultural significance for like the wider esports fan base. Like if they could just buy Fnatic, pump the money there instead, and have them start winning things and winning the esports World Cup, then suddenly you actually do have the biggest esports team in the world, that is like a genuine name with legacy as well. Yeah, that's kind of like the only way I can imagine someone actually dropping that much money, except for some investors that get duped into doing it and don't really know what they're buying into, because there's no way they're getting that money back as like a regular investor. I don't imagine. Maybe one other one I wanted to mention as well, just before we do finish up, is Karsa retiring as a legendary
Ooh.
player. I just
Ooh.
remember back in the day, like the Flash Wolves teams that were coming in, and like him and what was the guy, Sword Art, the one that got a nice paycheck from TSM towards the end.
Yes.
But yeah, like those rosters that you should just crop up every year at Worlds and would like always get like top 8. Yeah, coming from what was the league even called back then? I can't remember. I'm blanking on it, but yeah, still international legend Karsa. So sad to see him retire with the same time as Maple retiring as well, one of the other players from that kind of crop. Yeah, just thought we should mention it. Tribute.
I love Karsa, man.
He was the last player from Flash Wolves actually.
Yeah.
To still play the game.
I love
Now
Karsa.
they're all retired.
I actually like. I haven't met Karsa previously. I met him at Worlds this year. I think he's a genuinely great guy. Like genuinely great guy. I think he's very. I think he was one of the most comfortable ones to interview. Like you can joke with him. You can like if you're nice to him, he'll be nice to you. In terms of just like how he tries to make the conversation very very open. So it's very sad to see another guy leave. I think some of the older names from the Pacific regions are now being unfortunately disappearing. Like Levi retired as well. Karsa left, Maple left, joined, and is now, I think, teamless back again. So also I think the Pacific, like LCP now needs new blood. I think we're going to get a couple of new names. I actually have been following a little bit about their off season, but I'm not sure whether CFO can actually do better than last year, because I think this year's roster is not that convincing to me, to be honest, at the start. It's like it has good potential, but I'm not sure whether it will peak as much as it did last year.
That's where Shadow ended up when it was CFO.
Yes, and also like the whole thing with the support was super weird. Like they announced Orca, and 2 weeks later they got rid of him. That was they basically like I had the support from PSG Talent Academy. They brought him in, and then they decided to bring in 2274, which is technically from their academy roster, and then Orca was dropped. So I'm not sure what went there, but it was kind of a weird sequence of things that unfolded.
Is there a chance that for Shadow, like that citizenship stuff screwed him over a little bit? Because he didn't. I was a bit surprised to hear that he's not in the LPL anymore.
I'm not sure, man. Could be, could be not. Could be not. I actually think this is probably like I don't think he would have stayed in BLG anyway, and I think him going to CF is probably the best shot he can get for more international competition, like chances of getting to internationals. So I think probably would just turn out to be the best of like considering everything, the best choice.
I say we wrap it up there because we've been going bloody ages,
Yeah.
and I need to go to the toilet, and because I've been
Same.
had a big glass of water and a coffee,
Yes.
so I need to sod off. But yeah, thanks for joining again, guys. It's been nice chatting after the break. And
Was it again the longest episode we ever did?
Yeah. And next week will probably be the longest.
Keep breaking
again.
the records.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think next week's is going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
With the LEC.
Yeah, so we'll do
I'm
the
ready
LEC.
for
We'll do the
war,
power
guys.
rankings like this one, but then we'll do player rankings as well for the LEC. A new one that we've not
There's a
war.
lot to talk about there. So much. I was looking at them this morning. I was like, yes, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So we'll catch everybody next week. Thanks for listening as always, and hopefully we'll see you next time. And thank you, Davide and Ethan.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, bye bye.
Bye bye. Happy New Year, everyone.